So knowing all the stuff, knowing so many things, realizing this, that, and the other, understanding, understanding, overstanding scriptures and scripts and holy books and clandestine, esoteric knowledge is one thing, but putting it into practice is another. So you might have eyes to see and ears to hear, but have you got the heart to really put this stuff into practice? Especially if you're being tested. Or should I put it this way, are you testing yourself to see what metal you are made of? So the question is, how on earth do we put these things into practice? I mean, you think that you can do it when you're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, nearly 60. Oh my goodness me. I think it takes a lifetime of endless practice on a daily basis. And that is what it is. It's not all it is. So let me just quote here from the Kabbalion. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Now, isn't that interesting? I'll carry on. This principle embodies the truth that in everything there is manifested a measured motion, to and fro, a flow and inflow, a swing backwards and forward, a pendulum-like movement, a tide-like ebb and flow, a high tide and low tide, between the two poles, which exist in accordance with the principle of polarity. And it goes on. Now, this is the key, right? It's a fantastic key. The principle of polarity. Much as we would like to say we don't live in a causal universe, inverse, multiverse, we do on a certain level. And it's almost like the debris, the fallout from general life or general practice moving along our path or our journey. And there are times when one is really, really, really tested. And, when you, I speak for myself here, when you consistently fail to get the message or to get the lesson, it's really tricky because but then you failed again, and it's like, oh, you've just got to go again and again and again and again, and eventually it sinks in. Hello. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about putting into practice the inner knowledge which is innate in all of us, and how challenging that can be. So the principle of polarity. So we have a positive and negative pole, let's just say. Let's just take love and hate. Yeah. So on the one hand, we have the love, and on the other hand, we have the hate. And then we have a measured scale in between, and the pendulum swings from one side to the other. Perhaps just a little swing, or maybe a really big one. We don't know. So when I was in conversation with the divine a few weeks ago, I think I mentioned, I was very, very, very clearly told, we can't use you yet because you're still triggered. And then I had a test immediately, which I actually, passed. And then I've been tested ever since. And it's been really, really, really challenging. Because how can you stay in the fulcrum Yeah? How can you stay in the fulcrum? Because that's where I am, that's where I want to be as well when I'm not there. And the fulcrum is that wonderful central place. It's the balance. It's the, in a sense, you could say the eye of the storm, or the safe space that you know the is and the all is dwells. That wonderful heart of you and me. And the challenge for me personally has been to stand in that place, to stand there, while others' pendulums are swinging left and right and left and right and on and on and on, and their pendulum is swinging and trying to get me to go along in their pendulum swing. And I have refused to do this. Now, it's very difficult sometimes to refuse, knowing that you're not going to get involved, but then having the fallout of like the magnetic flow of their pendulum swing because they do this or they do that. And so I'm now in a situation where I am having to change polarity. Yeah, because I have swung now. I have, after 3 months of this, I have swung into a pole which I do not wish to be in, which has given me a different viewpoint. It's given me a viewpoint which is uncomfortable. And so I need to shift the poles so that I'm not dwelling there. And it would be better to dwell on the other side of this pole. Okay. Now, do I want to go into the positive flow? Yes, I do. But I also want to maintain my center. So in order to turn metal into gold, in order to do the mental alchemy which is necessary in this situation, I'm having to find something that I've never had before, or thought that I didn't have, I should say. And it's really good, actually, but it's really tricky. Because when somebody is prodding and prodding and prodding and prodding and prodding, either through lack of action or action, over and over and over in the same place, it's kind of like, why don't you just off? Yeah? Because I don't want to get involved with any of that. I just don't want that. But it's prodding and it's prodding and it's wanting its attention. It's like, okay, so what is it that I have to learn here? So I am now transmuting the triggered automated responses in myself, which would normally really want to knock someone's block off, really, for being such a... Anyway. But I'm not going to do that, because that's not healthy. That's not what I want to do. I want to do something else, but I don't want to be in a situation where I'm just like treated like poo either. So it's hard. It's hard to find that compassion, comprehension, and divine love for a being who is misbehaving, because it is trying to press all my buttons. It is trying to draw me into the pendulum swing. And so I am at the fulcrum. I am at the fulcrum, and I feel in my safe space. It's okay, I'm fine. But I'm noticing that there is this potentiality to swing. So, what am I saying? I hope that this is useful, is what I'm saying. In that I believe that, as we rise in consciousness, as we expand in awareness, and as we become our true selves, our true nature, we have to let go of that old programming, and we know that. And sometimes even just seeing what it is indefinable. So, what am I talking about? The indefinable, the intangible, the unconscious, the responses, the automation, the program, this has come to my attention, is now. And the transmutation from, let's just say, irritation to acceptance, or, the opposite poles. To stand in the fulcrum, to notice these things, to not be pulled into someone else's magnetism, to not respond to manipulation or encroachment, whether it's conscious or subconscious or unconscious. People do encroach, they do encroach upon one's space. Yeah, mental alchemy. Whew. Not being triggered. Yep. Okay. So, I don't need advice. That's not what I'm coming on for. It's not the advice. It's the sharing of the process. And I'm sure that lots of people out there are going through this now as they become more themselves and more in alignment with spiritual and divine parts of their being. Not that there are parts, but you know what I mean. It's also my Vegas time. Never rains when it pours, eh? Okay, well, there'll be an update on this one.